Giving you all the news and opinion from the Southern Professional Hockey League, it's time for the Inside the SPHL podcast.
Shoots, scores! That's Barber again. His second of the night. Deadly from the far face-off circle. What a move. What a shot.
He finds Oliveri. Oliveri makes a move. Shot up top to River King. Score in overtime.
Connor Gorman up the right wing wall. Side steps a big check from Gessler. Gorman to the left wing. Got that stop by Bremner. Rebound. Score!
Part of the slide comes around. Shot. He scored. Scored.
Now, here's Matthew Harding and Mike Campos.
That's as good of an intro as you're going to find anywhere.
Oh, boy.
Man, that's got me fired up. All kinds
of
fired up.
Are you totally not hyped after our by the way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Inside the SPHL podcast. He's Matt, I'm Mike.
Yeah, and we have not burned the place down.
Nope. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Editor-in-Chief Matthew Harding.
Managing editor Michael Campos.
I know, we promoted ourselves over the summer.
We did. We did. We had a void that we needed to fill.
And boy, did we fill it.
We're trying.
Yeah. So there we are. We have filled some voids. We've got a lot of new faces coming into the into Team Sinbin here for 2018-2019.
Yes. And
I know it's like I'm feeling like we're the minor pro hockey version of the Athletic, except free.
I feel like we are too. We're getting there.
Yes.
I keep telling myself all it takes is one yes.
You know, that's really, I know isn't that interesting? And now that you're really kind of working on the business end of the sin bin, trying to drum up advertisers, how much of a challenge are you having there? Besides, holy hell, I know we are. I mean, you and I know.
Yes.
But they don't know.
They don't know. I think I've actually aged 10 years and a month.
Really, man? You getting the grays?
Oh, yeah. I got the grays bad.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Man, I've got the grays. I've got the bald. I mean, I was really tempted. I got my hair cut this week, and I was really tempted to just tell the girl cutting my hair, just, you know what? Just give me the Franciscan monk look. Just shave the top off and because I've got a serious receding hairline.
Yeah, I do.
And then
too.
I've got a bald patch in the back, and there's this connective patch of rapidly thinning hair that runs across the top of my head. It's just not really the most becoming look.
Huh.
So I don't know, man. I was just close there. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's like I was telling her, I was like, God, I'm so tempted. Just shave all that stuff off the top off. And then I talked over with Stephanie afterwards because, of course, I'm not going to consult. I'm going to consult with the wife before making a big decision as such. And she says, no, hang on to your hair as long as possible. It's just not time yet. So for now, there is still at least some hair on top of my head.
So when it gets to that point, are you going to go with the Jim Cantore look? Or are you going to go skull it? What's your game plan there?
I don't know, man. I might skull it for a while.
Oh,
I just, you know, I don't know if I want to really get rid of the hair along the sides and the back.
If you skull it,
I don't know how good I look really bald.
If you go with the skull it look, I'm gonna need like weekly photos because.
Yeah, then you got to keep that up as well. 'Cause you gotta.
They're amazing.
Yeah, it's like my wife's father-in-law has to skull it. I mean, not to skull. I mean, the whole Franciscan monk look. You know, just you know, it's always short around the sides and the back, and then just totally shaved on top.
Yeah,
I just don't know how that's all going to work out.
I don't either.
I know.
I don't either.
So anyway, what I was thinking here, and I know this is like the podcast version of like Seinfeld, because it really is. If you've never listened to the show before, and now that we are now firmly implanted on iTunes, this really is a podcast about nothing.
Yes.
especially in the summertime when we're barely even talking about hockey.
Right. We're talking about business and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
There's no time
you
for
know what?
hockey.
But you know what's getting my mind? I see these commercials on TV because we get to watch TV now that it's no longer hockey season.
Right.
And okay, you see like the Snickers commercials, like, you know, like if you're grumpy or if you're having like a down day or if you're tired, what do? You have a Snickers, and all of a
Right.
sudden it's like life gets so much better. And now you have these Milky Way commercials coming on where it's like you eat a Milky Way and you turn into a total idiot. I mean, what's still? I mean,
Well, okay. Here's the.
I don't know if this is really a sound marketing platform here to say, "Hey, eat our candy bar," and you turn into an idiot.
It's really not.
Gertz.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, man. I was like, okay, this is really going to make me want to eat your candy bar if it's just going to turn me into a moron.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no on eating Milky Ways.
I'm going to choose the candy bar that makes me smarter.
I have eaten a Snickers and felt a tiny bit better.
A tiny bit better?
A tiny bit better. I've eaten a Snickers when I was grumpy, and man,
And it worked.
And it worked a little bit.
Okay, and that's fair. So now I think we should complete this experiment. And I think in the middle of an article, you should write, I think your next article that you write for the Sin-Bin, you should eat a Milky Way and see if you turn into a moron and start typing everything.
Well, wait a minute. You talk to me on a daily basis now.
Yeah. Well, I talk to you on a daily basis anyway.
Well, that's true. We talk on a daily basis. I'm sure you have a really good idea now
of when you eat a Milky Way.
Of when I've eaten a Milky Way. You don't need to find that in my writing.
Okay, well, I mean, for not just for me. I mean, yeah, I know when you totally start dumbing it up, but this is how I talk to my boss, y'all.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, actually.
Okay.
I know it comes from a good place.
I don't know if people read my tweets and just how much I typo stuff when I'm writing or posting. Yeah, you must think I've got a whole stockpile of Milky Way bars.
Same here, man.
Maybe that's what I'm going to do now. Maybe next time if I get like something wrong on a tweet, or maybe if my accuracy game just isn't totally up to speed, I'm just going to say, sorry, it was over the Milky Way.
So, yeah, I mean, we could be sitting there and just not having a real good day. Can we just blame days on Milky Ways for making us dumber?
Blame the whole month on Milky Way.
I could probably step out and blame my entire life
on a Milky Way bar.
Absolutely.
You blame it on your parents eating a Milky Way bar.
No, couldn't do that.
Okay. They had a Snickers.
They had Snickers. That's why they were happy.
Okay.
They did that. They were happy. Me, ate the Milky Way, dumb as a box of rocks.
Yep. It's just like that.
It is.
Just like that. All of a sudden.
You don't need to tell your kids about the stork or anything like that. You just tell your kids when it's time. Matt and Mike are going to parent you here. You just tell your kids, you sit them down and say, hey, you know what? Mommy and Daddy ate a Snickers. You showed up. And if you want to be smart, you eat Snickers. If you want to be dumb, you eat Milky Ways. That's as simple as that.
There we go. By the way, everybody, welcome to the Inside the SPHL podcast. This is your, I guess it's summertime, so this is your occasional look into the happenings within the Southern Professional Hockey League, a minor pro hockey league in North America, single A level for all of you guys. It's just refreshing your memory.
How did we go from
here
that
we are. We're
to
10
that?
minutes into the show, and we haven't covered hockey at all whatsoever.
No, I'm just wondering, like, we're 10 minutes in. How did we go from that, Matt and Mike's parenting tip, to like the hard turn to the right? Like, let's get this all the way back over on the train tracks.
It's called I'm steering the wheel, baby. I'm steering the wheel.
Okay. Well, it's called We Haven't Done This in 6 weeks.
I know. It's been so long.
We have a lot to get off our chest.
I mean, can you believe that the last time we actually were recording this podcast, first off, the Mississippi River Kings were still in existence, and we were still a few weeks away from Quad City announcing their arrival into the SPHL, both of which happened within 2 days of each other.
You
In 2 days, we had 11 teams, and then we had 10 again.
Yeah, and I think we were very close to Quad City not happening.
I think that was always going to happen. I know we heard stuff one way or the other, whether or not, Quad City's going to happen, Quad City's not going to happen. I think it was going to happen.
I think so too. You can't go through all of the rigmarole about having the Tax Slayer Center general manager going out and finding investors, and then these investors coming up and then not having enough money, and then everything behind the scenes happening led you to believe one way or another that hockey was going to happen. I think for Scott Mullen to keep his job, it had to happen.
Right.
So
there's too much invested.
Yeah, it was kind of a come hell or high water kind of a deal that we actually have hockey in Quad City. Now, whether it's going to be good hockey or not, don't know. We'll find that out in October. But initially, I think the reviews are fairly decent for the coach that they have, a true leader in Dave Pszenyczny from Peoria. Congratulations to Dave on a brilliant career.
Yes.
But
the guy's been around. He's played pro for parts of 14 years over 5 leagues.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You name the professional league, and Pszenyczny's played in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got a lot of experience with him. He's going to be a great coach, I think. Whether it's in Quad City or somewhere else down the line, I think remains to be seen. We have a question from a reader, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think that Bobby Metcalf at the Quad City Times has a keyboard macro that says Pszenyczny?
Probably not.
Go right there, Alt P Pszenyczny.
Not yet. When we did,
if I was him, I'd do it.
When we did the last in the corners together, I walked him through how to say his name because he just said Dave P.
I'll tell you, it took me a couple of weeks before it finally started, flowing correctly.
Yeah, my man.
It's like now I can say Pszenyczny without even batting an eye.
I used to back when Dave Pszenyczny played with the Bossier Shreveport Mudbugs.
You know what? Robertson Cup champion Shreveport Mudbugs this year.
Yes,
champions of the NAHL.
Congratulations to Carlos Zernis and his staff there in Bossier City for that. But getting back to my point, when he played on the blue line there for the Mudbugs in the old Central League, you just call him Alphabet Soup, or you just tell him to buy a vowel.
Yeah.
But
which he's got a couple, I think, but not many.
He does. Not a lot.
No,
and he has a really good line about empty seats in Tulsa. Because I had the chance to interview him at a then Missouri Mavericks Fan Fest, and I asked him, I said, "Okay, Dave, what's your favorite thing about playing on the road?" And he said, "Tulsa on a Tuesday." Because there was nobody there.
Yeah, it's like playing in a library.
Exactly.
Talk about library. Let's go to the Cajun Dome on a Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah. BOK Center, too. 16,000 seats. Cavernous, man. Oof.
Yeah, no. I remember it's like the Cajun Dome when it's on a really slow night when you've got maybe 1,000 people there in a 12,000 seat building, and you have a section to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice. It's intimate.
Yes.
The opposite of intimate. It's like you're like the voice in the wilderness.
People.
But anyway, we'll stay with the Quad City Storm. What are your thoughts on the Quad City Storm? Stormy. Which was funny because the day before they announced their name as the Storm, they had a big storm that rolled through the Quad Cities.
Yes.
How prophetic.
Yeah, I'm.
You kind of.
I'm not.
I'm meh.
I am too. I can't get behind the name. What makes?
I mean, it's not
storm,
bad.
What makes the Storm unique?
It's like I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It's soccerish.
Yeah, and what makes that name unique to that area? I guess when I look for a name in a logo, like I like the idea of the Peoria Rivermen, because you do work on the river, riverboat, all it ties in with the Mississippi, all that. I get it. Mississippi River Kings.
The big river that, I mean, the Quad Cities are on the Mississippi.
Yeah, I get that too.
Peoria is like on the Illinois River.
Illinois River, like Mississippi River Kings again on the Mississippi. I get it. I'm fine with that. When I'm looking for a name, I'm looking for something that ties you in with the area or sets you apart in some way from other organizations. I don't see it with that name. I get it. I saw the name when we had it last Thursday morning, and I was just like, okay, I guess. I was the same way as you, to be honest.
I mean, okay. Marketing wise, they're doing okay with integrating the whole Storm thing, because their season ticket packages. They've got Twister and Blizzard and Hurricane.
Yeah,
it's they've got like the Tornado Alley Party Patio, the Storm Shelter, the Thunder Terrace. Let's see, trademarking much there, Thunder? Thunderman.
The Thunder don't have the Thunder Terrace,
really
though. So
trademark I don't think you can really trademark a Thunder.
Well, and you can't trademark a Terrace either, because it's a common spot.
Yeah, Thunder Terrace, got Storm Shelter. So I guess it's kind of neat.
I want to see what they can do with it out in the community. Like if they have a vehicle that's their Storm Chaser or something like that.
Funny you should mention Storm Chaser. That's the season ticket holders.
Okay, well, if you do if you have a vehicle out there and you call it their, I don't know, I don't know what you could do, or if you really wanted to go off the rails with it, you could have cheerleaders and call them your stormtroopers.
Okay, yeah, in all white outfits.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time they like throw T-shirts up, they miss.
Yeah.
Okay, now so what if Jim Cantore does like the opening like ceremonial puck drop?
No, I'd be down with that. Jim Cantore,
and there's Thunder Snow.
If you're gonna do that, you got to have either Jim Cantore from the Weather or Mike Seidel from the Weather Channel. Those are the two most recognizable faces on that channel. Trust me, I know. I've watched it for 30 years. So it's either Cantore or Seidel to drop the puck. It can't be a local hack. Cannot. Because if you're going to do this, you got to do it right and you got to do it big.
Yeah.
Don't disappoint me,
I'm
Storm.
with you there.
Huh?
I'm with you. I want Jim Cantore, even though he is the harbinger of doom.
Yeah, he is. But I've actually met him, and Jim Cantore is a very nice guy.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He seems like a cool dude.
He is a very nice guy to have a beer with. I've had a couple of beers with Jim Cantore.
Yes, indeed. What about Reed Timmer?
No,
not Reed Timmer.
No,
he's not famous enough.
No. You can't call your vehicle either the Dominator, because he's got that trademarked.
Oh man, he's got that trademarked.
Yep.
Because that would be like a cool how Fayetteville has the tank for the Zamboni.
Yeah.
Quad Cities, they could have like the Dominator.
Yeah. Quad City representation. First of all, hire Ben Garrett to be your media director. Second, going to give you my cell phone number. I just happen to have extensive background in weather. I can probably help you with this branding thing. Give me a call and hire Ben.
Yeah, you could have like, forecasts and everything.
Bingo. And I'm all over this. We have just
instead of your game preview, it could be your game forecast.
Boom.
Boom, right there.
Yeah. Seasonal trends could be your almanac.
Yeah, we've got a 2-on-1 front breaking down the blue line right here. Moving southbound by the face-off circle.
Here comes that cold front rolling up the ice.
Forecast that front to break up right around the crease.
Radar shows that not going in the net.
We've got a definite hook.
Yeah. But getting back to the larger point here.
But Cantori over I like Reed Timmer though.
I do like Reed Timmer. Just you can't. Reed Timmer's the most recognizable face for Storm Chasers, but if you want the most recognizable face in all of weather, it's Jim Cantori.
Yeah. Okay.
So that needs to be. We need to get Colonel Combs on the phone with the Weather Channel in Atlanta, and we need to get Combsy to lock down Jim Cantori and get him on the SPHL private jet and take him from Atlanta to Quad City and make it happen.
Do you think that Jim Combs kind of looks like Jim Cantori?
No, he's not bald enough.
Well, I mean, come on, you can shave his head.
No. You realize how tall Jim Cantori is?
Combs out there does a Jim Cantori impersonation.
I'll bet Jim. I don't know.
I mean, if you're in a pinch,
you could do it.
Yeah, you could do it. I have faith. I have faith in our commissioner.
I have faith in it,
and he's still our commissioner. He didn't go to the ECHL.
That's true. We'll talk about that.
So, yay.
We'll talk about that. But I don't. Jim Cantori's only like 5'4". He's as tall as my wife.
Are you kidding? He's 5'4"?
5'4", 5'5".
God, are you kidding me?
He's not very tall. No.
He seems taller.
He's not very tall.
I did not realize he was a midget.
Yeah, well, easy on the word midget.
If you're 5'4" and a guy, you're a midget.
That's true.
You're shorter than Cruz.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 5'4" guys. I mean, you're overcompensating somewhere else. Just saying.
Hey.
Now, anyway, the Storm have made history. They've got the first female president of an SPHL team in Gwen Tombergs.
That's a great hire.
Which I think is fantastic. This is just another example of a league that breaks down barriers. And I know if you're listening and you're a River Kings person, you're going to say, but Robin Hurdle is the team president of the River Kings. Semantically, yeah, you're right. But Robin is also listed as a governor, which is, akin to an owner, rather than, president of, non-hockey ops or business ops. So Gwen is the manager of business ops for for the SPHL team, for the SPHL Storm, and that is a first.
Yes.
So there.
What do you think of that hire?
Good hire. She's worked her way around, all different sports, all levels, from the New York Mets and on down. So yeah, I think she's going to bring a lot. You know what? I think it's a good hire. She's well versed across game ops, hockey ops, media relations. She'll be great.
I think this is a home run hire for the Quad City Storm.
Oh, you can't go wrong.
This is somebody who has experience in that market.
Is local,
and that's exactly what you need right now. You could not, if you brought in anybody from outside of that area to come in and run that team and didn't have the connections that she has, that franchise start the clock at 2 years. Yeah. Now, this probably has legs because of her. This is I feel like this is a home run hire for the Quad City Storm. They could not have that ball is in the Mississippi River and sailing downstream right now.
Oh, that ball's in Peoria.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. That's knocking it way out the park.
Oh yeah.
and of course the aforementioned Dave Pszenyczny as the team's head coach. I think that's another great hire.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that.
I mean, it's the continuation of the coaching tree of Jean-Guy Trudel. But I mean, you're talking about a guy with so much experience around so many levels of hockey. He's a 2-time SPHL All-Star. He was last year's Defense Player of the Year. I mean, the guy went out on I guess as high as I know without winning a championship.
Yeah.
Although he was a champion in Shreveport. Go Bugs.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm still saying go Bugs because I'm still proud of my Mud Bugs.
Definitely. And more importantly, this continues the trend of former players going from the ice immediately behind the bench.
Yep.
Dan Bremner, now Dave Pszenyczny. Twos, Leo Thomas even, for that matter.
Yep, or Jesse Kallechy.
And Jesse Kallechy in Fayetteville. So now we're up to 4. This is not a trend. Or this is more than a trend. This is becoming something that I think is going to be what sets the SPHL apart from ECHL and American League franchises.
Well, you're starting to homegrow your own coaches.
Yes.
And that is a great, I mean, like we say, the SPHL is a developmental league. We don't just develop players, we develop everybody.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, fantastic hire by Chezzy. He's going to, I mean, maybe not this year, because I know what it's like to, you see that happen, and it's really hard to build a winner in your first season. It's been done before. I mean, you look at Peoria, they built a winning team right off the bat, although you had so much infrastructure already in place from the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I don't know, maybe not a fair. I mean, you look at, Bloomington, they were pretty god awful. Macon barely made the playoffs in their first year.
Evansville, I think, continues.
Evansville didn't make the playoffs in their first year and got much better in year 2.
Yes. I think that continues to be, at least for me, the model that we're going after, or the model that I see here is that
it's the analog that I'm seeing as well.
Thanks for that. I think that because we're looking at such a condensed clock for Quad City, and that is in comparison with Evansville. And when I wrote about why I thought Quad City should take a year off hockey, I brought up this exact reason and got trashed by Quad City fans. There's going to be some rough days ahead for that franchise.
There is so much that this franchise has to do.
Yes.
And here we are. We're 4 months until opening night.
Yeah. So
against Peoria.
Yeah. And on top of that, you also, I mean, now that the league secretly had an expansion draft for them, so you're starting the cupboard with 6 players, but I mean, you just hired a coach who now has 4 months to go finish rounding out his roster. And
really, that's 3 months.
And really, it's 3 months because you take
October 1st, you pretty much have all of the people you're going to have.
Correct. Minus an ECHL cut or whatever.
But you already know those guys are coming. That's the thing. I mean, know that when you have you already kind of know that, okay, if this guy doesn't make an ECHL team, he's coming to us.
Right.
By October 1, you pretty much kind of know who your camp roster is going to be.
Yes.
So yeah, there is a monumental task in front of Dave Pszenyczny over these next 3 months.
Yes. I don't know I think Dave Pszenyczny will be ultimately the right guy for that job. But I think that there are going to be a lot of long nights there for Quad City Mallard.
He's already
fans.
having long nights. That's no doubt. But I guess the question is, do you think the Storm will follow our recent expansion team to miss the playoffs?
Yes.
And yeah, probably. Honestly, it's really going to come down to how slow is Quad City's start.
Yeah.
Because I think Dave Pszenyczny is going to build a competitive team as the season progresses, no doubt.
Right.
However, it really is going to come down to if they have that slow start that Birmingham had last year, then they'll probably miss the playoffs. I think we have, I think Fayetteville has another monumental rebuilding job in front of Jesse Kallechy.
Yeah.
Oh, so, I'm not even sure that Fayetteville makes the playoffs next year. It's really going to see just what kind of talent that Jesse can bring in.
Yeah.
I mean, he's as a personnel guy, he's fantastic. I mean, he's the one he had a big part of building the President's Cup champs.
Right. I just really quick, I'm going to finish the thought on Quad City. Yes, I do think that they will continue the trend of expansion teams losing or not making the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's
just too much of a building curve.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the curve only gets steeper in the season when you have call-ups that decimate rosters. So this is going to be a very, very, very stern test for Dave Pszenyczny right off the hop. It's going to be a stern test for everybody in the organization. Evansville got lucky in their first year, and Birmingham did too, in that they weren't as picked apart as some of the other clubs. That said, they still were missing guys off that roster, and it played a significant detriment to those clubs moving forward. Birmingham righted the ship, I think, almost at the right time, but just ran out of gas at the finish line. Evansville just continued to drop off the table.
Well, you know what Evansville did good on their first season is they got better as the year progressed.
Correct. They still lost, but they still got better.
That's the thing that you really want to see is this team in March going to be better than the team in – of course, they're going to be, but compared to the rest of the teams in the league, are you gaining ground?
Correct.
And almost always this answer is yes. I mean, you look at what Evansville did in their first year, and they brought in a core of players for their second season, and they instantly became competitive, and they got so much better so quickly, and we all saw it coming. But that was what I really liked seeing there. You saw it in Macon during their first year. We saw it in Roanoke for their second year. Yeah. After Dan Bremner took over for Sam Fatork.
Yes.
And we saw it in Birmingham midway through the first year, where you start seeing that core of players that starts to develop, and you start really seeing it around January, February. And then when you bring people in, maybe at the trade deadline, or maybe some of the college kids that come in March, and that's when you start seeing the core of next year's team come together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think initially that roster is going to be the roster that you have in October and the first half of November for Quad City fans will look significantly different by the time you get to January and February, to your point. And by that point, Pszenyczny will have a really good idea of the caliber of player he wants to bring in and what style he wants to play. It's easy for every coach to stand out there in a press conference and say, hey, you know what? If we don't have the puck, we're going to go get it. We're going to be physical. We're going to do the little things. We're going to do this, this, and this.
Every coach
easy
says
to do that. It's harder to find players to implement into that system. So we'll see exactly how that roster takes shape for the Quad City Storm this year, and who are going to be the holdovers from October and November to January and February.
Right. And I'll tell you what, we have a bunch of great coaches coming in this year.
Yes.
You've got Pszenyczny, who we project is going to be a really good coach. Dan Bremner, who was born to be a coach, he really turned around Roanoke season. I mean, after he took the job December 18th of last year, Roanoke went 21-15-2. I mean, that's not just a playoff team, that's a good playoff team.
Yes.
And then let's go south to Pensacola, where Jeff Bess is out. Rod Aldoff is back in his third stint as the Ice Flyers head coach. And somebody emailed us, but we'll talk about that later. I wish notifications coming on. Sorry, guys, y'all had to hear that. And Rod Aldoff,
sorry, that was me.
2 President's Cups. He's 113 wins. He had a debacle of an experience in Norfolk. And you notice now Norfolk now is they're the affiliate of the Arizona
Coyotes. Yeah.
Well, talk about that's like the last 2 kids picked for gym class, huh? It's like no one's picked us. I guess we're gonna go. It's like the last. It's like the 2 kids that's friends with nobody else in high school. Then they become friends.
Yeah. I don't know though. I watched some of the talent that Arizona and Tucson have in their pipeline.
Tucson's not bad.
Fort Wayne was really good last year with some of that talent.
Yeah.
I mean, and Norfolk didn't need that much more talent to make a push for the playoffs in the ECHL. I still think Robbie Fatorik is the guy to get them back into the playoffs or into the playoffs for the first time in Admiral's ECHL history. I think it actually happens this year. But we're a long way from October in the league, and a lot of things have to happen. A lot of contracts have to get signed between here and there for us to make that call. But I like Robbie Fatorik. I like the style of game he plays. I like how old school he is. To me, it makes sense. To me, that makes sense. But getting back to Rod Aldoff in Pensacola, does it surprise you that they blew out Jeff Bess and brought in Rod Aldoff for a third go of it?
Well, I guess now that Rod Aldoff is no longer, now that he's out of his contract as a scout with Edmonton, who better to right the ship in Pensacola than Rod Aldoff? I think Rod Aldoff's going to be here for a while.
But was the ship really that bad in Pensacola? They had a great start. Unfortunately, they just got picked apart by call-ups. And if you don't score in the playoffs, Sean Bonner can't stop everything all the time. Sean Bonner didn't even come back.
Sean Bonner wasn't the guy in net either.
Yeah, I mean,
that was,
I don't know.
There was a lot. I mean, it was, Brian Billett was the goaltender in the playoffs because injuries and whatnot. To be fair to Jeff Bess, Pensacola got picked apart and they got injured. Like they took a lot of injuries at the end of the season, which made them falter down the stretch. But it's I don't know, Jeff Bess in March, his teams just don't do well. And you look at his career and he's had one series win in 7 seasons as a coach.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
That's awful. You and I talked. I think I asked.
I mean, remember when we did our playoff show? We all picked Pensacola to, we picked Pensacola to lose in the first round. They sure did.
Yep. I asked you and Ben Garrett this when we had the news that Rod Aldoff was succeeding Jeff Bess in Pensacola. I'll ask it now in a podcast setting. Does Jeff Bess coach in this league again?
Oh, that's a very, you know what? I'm going to say maybe. I don't know. Does he coach in the SPHL? Does he eventually go to Winston-Salem and coach in the Fed? I don't know. Does he just want to, go into private business in the Biloxi area and just stay close to family? That's a big possibility as well. So I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, if the right situation comes about, then of course you jump on it. I think for the time being, I'm gonna say the answer is going to be no.
I'm inclined to say no as well. I would have thought that I'm inclined to think that he and Derek Landmesser both have had their shot. Derek Lamester only got out of the first round of the playoffs once. Same with Jeff Bess. You bring in and if you're Quad City, I mean, both those guys win you a boatload of games during the regular season. But is Dave Pszenyczny better than both of those guys? They think he is.
Right.
I think that is a damning statement for not only Derek Lamester, but Jeff Bess, too. For me, it would be hard to see either one of them get a job in this league again, given how the league has skewed younger very, very quickly.
You know, I think it comes down to potential over past results.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on, we've already talked about Jesse Kallechy getting the job in Fayetteville, and hopefully he lasts more than like 9 games.
You mentioned earlier that you thought it would be a pretty tough year there in Central North Carolina. What leads you to believe that?
When you think about Fayetteville, they did not get better as this year progressed. I mean, there was just so much turmoil on the ice that, I mean, I think Fayetteville has an even tougher rebuild than Quad City has in expanding.
Ooh, that's a pretty bold statement.
Fayetteville's got nothing. I mean, they've got Jake Hausworth and not much else on top of that. Now, of course, having Jake Hausworth on your team is a wonderful thing. I mean, you know, he's a 63-point guy last year. But, I mean, Jake Hausworth was your team. He was 30% of your team's offensive output.
Yeah, you're not going to win a lot of games if that guy is 30% of your offense.
So, and I think Jesse Kallechy has to build a team. He's got to get goaltenders in. He's got to get defensemen in a big way because Fayetteville had 0 defense last year. You know, there is so much that Jesse Kallechy has to build, and he's got to build that from scratch. So, yeah, Kalecky's got a really tough job ahead of him. Someone who does not have a tough job ahead of him is Macon Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas.
We talked about shattering glass ceilings in Quad City, but an even bigger glass ceiling being shattered in Macon with the hire of Leo Thomas, the first black head coach in Southern Professional Hockey League history, and the third black head coach in AA or lower hockey in the last 30 years.
You know what's crazy about this?
What's that?
They're all in Macon. He is the third black head coach of a hockey team in Macon.
Yep.
So you had John Parrish Jr., 1994 IHL Atlanta Knights, IHL Turner Cup champs, and Dirk Graham, the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yep.
He was first black head coach of an NHL team.
Correct.
And then later went to Macon. So
in the ECHL.
I'm sorry. Graham Townsend. That's it.
Graham Townsend
was coached the Macon Whoopee.
Yep. He also coached in
along with John Parrish Jr.
Yes, and he also coached.
See, I must have had a Milky Way.
I think we both have. He also coached the Greensboro franchise in the ECHL from 2000 in the 2001-02 season. Sean Wheeler, another black head coach, coached Charlotte from 1998 to 2000.
Mm-hmm. There we go. See, sorry, had a Milky Way.
It's all right. Hat tip to Joe Babick at the ECHL office for that information.
Oh, nice going.
So yeah, but you're right. Leo Thomas has a full stat. If Jesse Kallechy has no cards to work with, Leo Thomas has 3/4 of the deck. There's not a lot of turnover there.
Macon's not going to be a really big rebuilding job.
No,
and also, congratulations to his nephew, Akil Thomas.
Yes.
The 51st overall pick in the NHL draft going to the LA Kings.
Yes. Huge upside with that kid. Man, does he have a shot.
Man, kid's got it all. He's got speed. He's got a rocket of a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's to see him actually fall to 51, I thought was pretty out there.
I thought so too.
Because he was in most people's in most people's draft guides, he was a top 20 prospect.
Yeah. It was
or
amazing.
Top 30 for sure. He was slated late first round.
Yeah, it was amazing how that draft worked out over the past weekend, where you had the first 2 picks everybody figured out, and then the next 12 was pretty much a toss up, and then after that it was just go. It was almost like teams were picking names out of a hat.
If the hat was full of names that said Rasmus,
exactly. And if they were a defenseman.
If you were a 5'11" defenseman from Sweden named Rasmus, you were getting drafted in the first.
No kidding. Man.
Jesus Christ. It's like, so
Nicholas
I'm
Lidstrom,
Rasmus Campos.
Nicholas Lidstrom was busy. Just having all kinds of kids named Rasmus.
Yeah. Must be,
Hey, Nicky gets around, man.
Does he really?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm just saying.
This segment of the podcast brought to you by Milky Way.
Sorry.
That's exactly what they need to do. This segment of your life brought to you by Milky Way. Sorry. I'm sorry. Did I get something confused on the podcast? Sorry, I was having a Milky Way. Yeah.
Gosh. Oh yeah. This is what we do here, boys and girls.
That's right.
So let's see. So now we've got our first round of player signings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna give you a cool signing. How about TJ Shalott?
Where's old TJ?
TJ is going to the Austin Bruins of the NAHL. He's going to be the voice of the Bruins.
That's really cool.
Congratulations,
TJ.
The Austin, Minnesota Bruins, but Bruins never. Voice of the Bruins, TJ Shalott.
That's really cool. Congratulations to our friend TJ.
I know he landed that job quickly.
Yeah.
SPHL Broadcaster of the Year, TJ Shalott.
That's right. And the man proudly wears that badge of honor on social media too.
We just call him Tej,
which I'm really proud. Like, the Southern Professional Hockey League doesn't have a Broadcaster of the Year award. So when we do something like that, some guys would just see that as being flippant about it. But TJ's actually really embraced it. So TJ is an all-around great guy. He's going to do really good up there in Minnesota. Good for him. They picked up a great guy.
Yep, I'm really happy about that. I couldn't be happy for Tej.
Yep, absolutely.
I can't wait to get all kinds of stories from like way up north in Minnesota.
Yeah,
and imagine our excitement when the owner of the team is a guy named Craig Patrick, and I'm like, Craig Patrick, really?
Mm-hmm.
The Craig? No, not the Craig Patrick.
No,
I was not happy about that.
No, you weren't.
I know. So I'm like, man, Craig Patrick, God, we got to get this guy on the show. That would be awesome.
Yeah, you were. And then you came back and you were like, yeah, sorry, false alarm.
That Craig Patrick. Sorry. That might have to be a sound effect going forward. Sorry.
Might be. You never know what I'm going to do.
You never know. You never know what we're going to do here.
That's
welcome
true.
Welcome to the show, y'all.
That's true.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, other than Tej, signing up in the NAHL, that's like my second friend and as a voice of an NAHL team.
You know what? That's going to make the drive.
My boy Chet Yoder in Shreveport, Tej in Minnesota.
That's going to make you've got to make that trip now. If you're going to go see Chet.
Oh man, I'm going to Blaine, man.
You got to go to Blaine to see Tej.
Yeah, for the showcase.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, go to Blaine for the showcase.
Take
a ride. Take a ride up with Yoder.
That's right.
Go hang out with Tej.
There you go. That's how you do it.
We got friends in the business now.
That's right. That's right.
That's well a hockey family. So much fun.
That's right. Yeah, I just
so anyway,
good for him.
Let's see. We had some player signings.
Yeah.
If you want to make a big deal about that.
Really quick, who just
Peoria signed some kid who played in the queue, Olivier Shingomel. I'm gonna just call him Schwing. I mean, it's Peoria, Illinois. It's pretty close to Wayne's World Country. Schwing. Olivier Schwing Gomez.
Brad Kupiak on line 1. Hi, Mike. You realize that his name is not Schwing. Thank you. Goodbye.
Too late.
Too late. We've already got a soundbite, Brad.
Already done. Sorry.
Thanks, Brad.
Anyway, we've already talked about Howley.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was it 65 points? Oh well, he's 60 something. He scored a lot.
Yeah.
He scored all the points for Fayetteville. Thunderbolts, who were the first team to actually announce a player signing, which was really weird because it's like for the first time in ages, it's not Brad Drobot. I was already. We're gonna have Drobot Day. He was gonna see his shadow.
I know.
And all of a sudden,
you were very disappointed.
I was very disappointed it wasn't Brad Drobot.
Where does Brad Drobot end up? Is he?
I don't even know if he.
Is he done?
I don't know.
Surely somebody would take a chance on a guy like him, a good locker room guy, and can hold players accountable on the other side. You still need that in this game.
Yeah.
And I think Brad Drobot fills that role admirably.
He does the best he can.
And
I don't know, he was very one-dimensional last year.
Yeah.
And he's got to be able to you've got to have a second dimension to your game.
You do. This game is forcing you to have
even as a guy who's known to drop the gloves, you still have to be able to contribute somewhere on offense or defense. Otherwise, there's so many more kids that are coming up behind you.
Yep.
To take your job.
Yep.
But yes, the Thunderbolts, and most notably Brandon Lubin. He's going to be a second-year defenseman. Mike Fazio, another guy. So that's I don't know. Other guys who rookies and
dudes.
College kid coming into his first year. So
just signing dudes.
I don't really get all that into player signings.
I'm not either.
Yeah, it's not like the ECHL where you have guys that are there for years and years.
But you really don't have that in the ECHL.
You don't have that either?
No. If you do, you're doing it wrong.
You think? Okay.
I think so.
I always see the similar names that come up year after year.
Now you're gonna have in Allen, you'll probably have Joel Schwinnard or Casey Piero-Zabatel. You may have Spencer Oschuk or a David Mikowski. You'll have your core group of guys who don't really want to move up.
Right.
That's
and
fine.
Then new guys around them.
Then you fill in the new guys who have a zest for moving up around them. But year after year after year, no. You probably will. Schwinnard and Piero-Zabatel probably have a shelf life in Allen. I can't see them.
Well, Allen got old really fast.
They did, and Schwinnard and Piero-Zabatel have a lot of miles on those tires. Yeah. I can't, age is an issue for them. But yeah, if you're doing it right, you recycle that roster with the exception of a few holdovers every year. I think I had one coach tell me you cap it at maybe 6 and move on, and then you recycle out those 6 every year.
Yep.
So
seems about right. And in the SPHL, it's even tougher now to hold on to players for a long period of time because of the 900 game veteran cap.
Oh, it went down.
It went down. It went down last season, and no one told us about it.
Wow.
Which was funny because I was asking Tej about it.
Tej.
And Tej said, yeah, they didn't even tell us about it. I didn't find out until later.
It would be nice if we could get a.
Nice to know.
It would be nice if we could get a league communique from on high.
Communications, nice to have.
Hey,
so the 900, it makes it even tougher to hold on to guys for a long period of time, because I mean, once you're over 300 games, then you're really cutting into a veteran cap.
Right. Hey, Combsy, if Ben Garrett doesn't get a job in Quad City, feel free to hire him for the league director of communications. Thanks.
And that is something that the SPHL desperately needs.
They do, don't they?
I mean, I know. We pick on the commissioner a little bit here, but it's all out. It's all a lot of fun. We love the guy.
Yep.
But we really need a director of communications for the league.
Yep.
Just yes, please.
It can't be an intern writing those press releases, which I guarantee you is what's happening.
Yeah.
It cannot be an intern writing press releases. You have to have somebody to mold the communication strategy in that office and for that league, especially as its notoriety continues to improve.
True. I mean, I think if you actually brought in a communications director, someone to really do that job, it would improve the league's profile tenfold. I mean, the value you would get out of hiring a guy like that would come back. You know, you would reap 3 times, 5 times the benefit that you would actually pay in salary.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that person in turn could go learn from what the ECHL, American League, and National Leagues are doing, and figure out how to employ them at their level, at the Southern Pro level. It's got to happen. It has to happen.
Absolutely. So let's see. You want to talk about more player signings?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I'm just it was there.
They were there.
It was there, but we are over 60 minutes, and we don't want to run too long here.
No.
So yeah, let's see. Craig Simchuk and Josh Harris. They signed.
There were protected lists, though, weren't there?
Yeah, they were protected list guys.
Okay, so we're starting to see some of those signings come off of the protected from the protected lists. That
maybe we'll talk about it next month.
Dished out, maybe.
Yeah. Stuart Steffens, now the Jesse Kallechy in Huntsville.
We did not touch on that. Let's talk about that.
We didn't touch on the assistant coaches. So, yeah. So you have, Jesse Kallechy goes to Fayetteville, Stuart Steffen retires after 7 years of being a freaking awesome defenseman and an even better dude.
How soon is it before
to be the coach of the assistant coach of the Havoc?
How soon is it before Stuart Steffen's number gets raised to the rafters at the VEC?
I'd give it 3 years. I think 3 years is a decent amount of time to I mean, there's going to be Havoc fans going to say tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, I think just for timeliness' sake, you give it 3 to 5 years. I say 3 years and you raise his number.
Yeah.
Especially if Steffen gets a job elsewhere in hockey, especially if he gets a job elsewhere in the SPHL and becomes a head coach and he follows in, say, Jesse Kallechy's or Leo Thomas's footsteps and becomes a head coach in this league, then absolutely you retire his number once he's totally out of the Havoc organization. Then he comes back, he comes back for his first game as head coach of another SPHL team, and you raise his number to the roof, and yay, he's back. Now we boo the hell out of him.
Yep.
And then in Macon, Ryan Michael now filling in for Leo Thomas as assistant coach.
Right.
And that's another really smart hockey guy. I mean,
yeah.
And the thing with Steffen is when we talked with Glenn DiTullio a couple of years back, and I asked him, it's like, who do you think is most ready to coach? And he said, without hesitation, not even in the least, he said Stuart Steffen.
Yeah.
So to see him now become an assistant coach, didn't see, totally saw it coming.
Yeah, no brainer. I mean, yeah.
You knew the guy was going to get into coaching,
and what
at one time or another.
And what better way to do it than after winning a championship?
Absolutely, talk about going out on top.
Yeah, and now he has a chance to put his fingerprints on the Havoc's title defense.
Yep.
From behind the bench rather than on the ice.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another home. That's a home run hire.
Yeah,
and really that's a home run of a eephus pitch in slow pitch softball.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
and congratulations to him on a tremendous career as well.
Okay, so one final question. I'm going to put it on you.
All right.
Of the 5 coaches, which one of our 5 new coaches wins a cup first?
Okay, so
is that going to be Leo, Jesse, Aldoff, Chesy, or Brems?
Well, we can't count Rod Aldoff because the third time is not like the first time. So Aldoff's
That's
out.
what he said.
Well, it's not as good as the first. So Rod's out. So we're down to 4.
Okay. So you don't think Rod Aldoff's going to win a title soon?
Well, I don't think that he's going to be I don't think that he's a rookie coach. I mean, he's going back to Pensacola for the 3rd time, for crying out loud.
Okay, but still, he's back. He's got to rebuild a team.
But I wouldn't say that he's.
He doesn't have to rebuild the team, but he's going to build its team in his image. So
right,
there's going to be a lot of new people coming in.
But I don't. Here's the thing. I don't.
Okay. Fine. Rookie coaches only.
Coaches.
Let's take Rod Aldoff out of the equation, and just say out of Chesy, Brems, Kallechy, or Leo. Who wins a title first?
Leo.
Okay. Fair assessment.
Macon is a ready-made.
He's got the most to work with right now.
Right. But Bremner is a very close second. Don't be surprised if Roanoke is good, like championship good, in 2 years. Roanoke's going to make huge strides. They're going to get in the playoffs next season, I think.
They're going to get into playoffs, and they're going to get into the playoffs easy next year.
They may challenge for home ice in the challenge round next year, but I still think they're a year away from having championship aspirations. That said, you get in the playoffs, as we figured out this year with Huntsville, you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. So I think it's Leo Thomas first, then Dan Bremner second. But you still have to go through the dean of coaches in the SPHL, and that continues to be John Guy Trudel.
Right, which so far has been actually pretty good if you're the opposing coach. But he is going to get his championship. It's got to happen.
Ooh, man, I thought
man, I know. We keep on saying it's like this is going to be the year that Guy wins his title, and yet again we're waiting another year.
I know. I feel bad for the guy.
It's the one thing missing from that resume of his.
And you almost feel bad for him. Like, come on, man.
I feel terrible for him.
Oh yeah, great guy, great coach. Just can't get over that hump. And I continue to think with Peoria, as long as he's there, once they break through that championship ceiling, they'll come by the bucket full. I think.
Once he wins his title, he'll go to the ECHL.
I don't think so.
You think he's gonna be a lifer? I guess why not?
If he was going to do that, he'd have probably done it now. There are 2 expansion franchises in the ECHL.
I would say yes to that, but when I was talking with Guy Trudel about this, he said he wants to dominate as a coach. He does not want to leave a bullet point off the resume. So he wants a title before he even thinks about going to advancing his career.
Good for him.
I mean, he's young. He's got time. I mean, he's young. He's got time.
Some coaches see the ability to move up, and they see the money, and they chase after that. I applaud him for wanting to make sure that he checks off every bullet point on that list at one level before moving up to the next. I applaud him.
Yeah.
It's a different way of looking at things, but as I've come to learn from doing this with you over the last 2.5 years, Guy Trudell walks to his own drummer. He follows his own beat. So, he's going to do things on his time. When Peoria loses him, I think at some point they will. When they lose him, there are going to be some extremely big shoes to fill. Exactly.
That is exactly what I think. It's like he will move. I mean, unless he's like, hey, listen, I love it here. I'm not going anywhere.
I could see that too.
But then again, it's like it's also not like Guy to turn down the challenge.
That's true.
He's a person who believes in, fulfilling your potential.
Mm-hmm.
And if his potential means advancing as a coach, then he's going to go that route.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think Peoria's title window is open as long as he's there. But I think at some point, as long as if Guy continues to if the Rivermen, not Guy, if the Rivermen continue to go through the heartache of losing championships every single year, at some point you have to turn your eyes not to the roster, but to the man behind the bench. It's inherent. At some point that has to happen.
At what point does that happen? Is it 4 or 5?
That's a good question.
So when you get into Buffalo Bills territory.
Honestly, Mike, I thought it would have happened after this one. I would have thought that they'd have taken a look at him and said, hey, you know what? You built this roster to win, and you didn't win. So we've got to look at another direction.
I don't know. See, I think if we had proper length playoff series, I said I wasn't going to complain about it anymore. But if we had that, it's just a best of 3. The best team doesn't always win,
right? And that's usually.
I just think it's just the coin flips have got to start, falling in Peoria's favor someday.
You got to think. You'd hope. Well, you wouldn't hope. I mean, for Peoria fans, you'd hope that they would fall in your favor one of these days. Realistically,
it's gotta happen.
Yeah, it'll happen sooner rather than later. But I think through every, there's some stupid cliche about through dark times and blah blah blah. So I think,
know what it's gonna be though. It's gonna be a year where Peoria really has to overcome some serious adversity where, they struggle. Maybe they finish 5th or 6th or something. Maybe they finish out of home ice for the first time in their history. And maybe that just might be the year where they just turn it on in the postseason, just destroy everybody.
Maybe. That's a good way of looking at it. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team. I don't think they've ever finished lower than 3rd. So
that's true.
Well, we will see.
What just handicap this season really quick, and I know we're running a little bit longer than what we would like to.
We're pretty normal right now. We're at 110.
Yeah,
we're fine. We're fine.
Handicap this season for me because I feel like
I don't even know who's playing this year.
You do too.
No, you don't. We've got 8 people signed so far.
Okay.
So it's almost impossible. I mean, we're going completely on conjecture.
Well,
I can't even think about handicapping a season.
That's fair. And this,
until we start seeing, who's really coming back, where, and that's August when we start really seeing the player signings come in.
well, okay, that's fair, because I was going to ask, because to me,
Right now I'd say Evansville, they've got the most players signed. They're going to kick everybody, kick the shit out of everyone.
this last segment of the SPHL podcast presented by Milky Way.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, we haven't got to. Before we are done, we have to talk about the Walmart item of the week.
Oh, yes, we're bringing it back.
Bringing it back. You don't think I'm going to stop a podcast by not talking about it? I'm gonna send you check your link in Zencaster here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We're going to talk about this right now. And then when you are the king of your castle, if you are the crown prince of your domain, if your bathroom is the palace of Dubai or whatever, you need to get yourself the VIP lounge elongated toilet seat. For $49.99, and of course we're going to have this picture on our podcast page, you can get yourself, let's about this item here, this flashy top seat model number 3D elongated toilet seat VIP lounge features a bold metallic design with diamond-like embellishments. It's rendered using a 3D chrome printing technique. Chrome hinges lower the lid and ring slowly and gently. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Someone figured out a way to bedazzle a toilet seat. And let me tell you, it is blingable. I mean, we're talking like gold trim, black top seat, bedazzled around the perimeter. It's got VIP, and it is outlined in gold and bedazzled in the middle with a crown. And man, I got to get me one of those.
Me too.
Man, I mean, seriously. I mean, when I'm sitting on the throne checking my Twitter, my VIP Twitter, let me tell you something. I want gold, and I want bling, and I want chrome.
Me too.
And so right there, you can get it $49.99. Its list price is $69.99. So yes, you can, if you are, and it is June 25th as we are recording this show, it will arrive by Monday, July 9th, or with faster shipping. I mean, if you really need to impress your friends, you get it by July 3rd with faster shipping.
Man.
So let me tell you something right now. The 3D elongated 3D. Man, look at that. Man, so chrome hinges.
Whew.
Chrome, not that plastic white stuff. Oh no, we got gloss black, bling, crown, gold trim, VIP. VIP.
VIP. Oh, man.
Playing in my bathroom right now. So, yep. So there we go. Ah.
Oh man.
I almost fell off my chair.
Yep.
Oh.
So I never disappoint anyone in saying I really know how to finish a podcast.
No, you don't. Oh man.
VIP or VIP.
VIP.
God, what's the name of that? What's the name of that stuff that oh God, what's it called? That you it's like you drop it on your toilets before you poopery.
Poopery. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you got your VIP toilet seat, you got your poopery drops that you can, drop a deuce in the toilet and it doesn't stink.
You know what?
Man. This is something for every. This is something every bathroom needs now. Look at my VIP. I'm $50, man. VIP toilet seat.
Sign me up.
Man.
Matter of fact, I'll be getting in touch with this company tomorrow about advertising on our very website.
I mean, listen, you can sit there, you can hug your toilet seat and take a selfie.
I'm in the very important poo lounge.
Yep.
Oh man.
Well, it's been a hell of a show, Matthew.
It has.
This is why we wait 6 weeks.
That's right.
To keep bringing this kind of free entertainment.
It is. What do you have planned for the 4th?
I don't know. I'm gonna eat some food. I don't know. I still have like some Costco hot dogs that I got to eat.
Really?
Oh, man, I love Costco hot dogs.
I've never had Costco hot dogs. We're Sam's club family.
Oh, right. Well, Sam's uses Nathan's hot dogs for theirs.
Can't do it.
Like you get the big food court hot dogs too, like the ones that are like quarter pounders that are like 18 inches long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the ones. Those are the ones to get. Don't even play around with a lesser dog.
Can't do it, man.
Okay, I'm just saying. When it comes to dogs, size does matter.
That's why I have 2 little dogs.
Cha cha cha. Anyway, hey, did you know that Matthew Harding? Did you know that you can actually find our podcast now on Apple Podcasts?
I did not, Michael Campos.
That podcast, along with the entire stable of podcasts here at the sinbin.net.
That's awesome.
Yes. You can actually find the Inside the SPHL podcast. It has its own page on Apple Podcasts. You also may know it as iTunes.
Yes. Huge
You can
thanks
also
to...
see it. It's there. It's on Google Play.
It is. It's on Stitcher,
on
too.
Android, or your favorite Android podcatcher on Stitcher.
That's right.
I mean, we're everywhere.
That's right.
This podcast, during our earlier existence, if you subscribe to the Sinbin podcast, you subscribe to all of our podcasts at once.
That's right.
Now you can subscribe to Inside the SPHL. You can subscribe to In the Corners with our homeboy CC Hawkley.
That's right.
What other podcast do we have? Is that it?
Hockey Talk.
Hockey Talk. I think it should be called Hockey Talk. Hockey Talk.
Hockey.
With CC Hawkey. Hawkley. I know it's Hawkley, but I think Hockey and Hawkley. Did you know that? Gosh, let's see. I gotta look this up here.
Okay.
We were talking about this, but Providence.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Montreal Canadiens. They traded, Providence U goaltender Hayden Hawkey to the Edmonton Oilers.
Right. Saw that.
What a name. What a name, huh? Hayden Hawkey. That's like what a hockey name. He plays college.
That's right.
He plays college. He plays at Providence College, and he plays hockey. And his name is Hawkey.
Man,
I mean, tell me if this guy wasn't pegged to be a hockey player.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, he was doomed from the start.
He was.
Yeah, poor kid never had a chance.
Never did.
But there we are. You can find us on iTunes. And
That's
you can
right.
find us on Google Play and Android and Stitcher and everywhere. We're everywhere.
That's right. We are.
And occasionally sidetracked.
Hey, we'll get there.
No. That's what we do. It's like when we get sidetracked, that's when we get good.
That's right. I thoroughly enjoy the...
It doesn't get any better than this.
It doesn't.
I know. Doesn't get any better than this.
Nope.
Always enjoy doing the show with you, Matthew Harding.
It is.
Sinbin Thunder on Twitter.
It is. It's always a blast doing it with you as well, Michael Campos at Sin Bin SPHL.
On the tweeter.
On the tweeters. And then you can follow Mike and Brad and Dana and whomever else we have in the SPHL stable over on the
Anna
on the Sin Bin SPHL Facebook page.
Facebook.com/Sin Bin SPHL.
Bingo.
That's a forward slash, not a backward slash.
That's right.
If you can actually tell the difference between a forward or backward slash.
You probably can't.
I get them confused all the time.
So do I. And I don't eat Snickers or Milky Ways.
I know. So you ready to hear the outro?
I am. Let's take it home, Michael.
Yes, it's our first summer episode of the season, and we are out of here. He's Matt.
He's Mike.
And we're out of here. Let's roll this outro. It sounds pretty cool.
All right. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the SPHL podcast. For all the latest news on the Southern Professional Hockey League and more, visit thesinbin.net.